Alright, so the last time on the last video we stopped here. We were trying to add an overlay column. It happens that we have to just change this to overlay, and then add the overlay column. So let me create the column and just go down, black, and then use the opacity. And leave it like this. Then go back to the text. Choose text column. Text body reverse. Title. Text body reverse. And text body reverse. E2 for contrast. Have the button here. So style the button from here. So let's change this for the button. Then change the HTML tag to a link. And custom URL. We add here for now. Photo layout. Inline size. Auto. So it just takes only the width of what you have inside it. Then in case you see this margin logical, padding logical, and all of these extra input types, those are from advanced Figma. So you can set it up, have that from the settings. The difference is just check CSS Logical Properties. You'll see the difference. Buttons with legs. Space Y. Okay, let's undo this. This is what we'll do. Space, space. For the top space, top and bottom, I'll use space 2xs. So what I'll do is I'll create a variable for that. It's a variable with a new category. Variables within ruler. So I just know that these variables are created within the ruler. Then I add button, and then block. And I'll come here. Copy this. Go back here. then paste it. Paste. So that for all my bodies, I don't have to remember I'm going to use this. I just assign a variable and use it there. So I'll just do nice. I'll just say button here. Then for the padding, let's say space L, this L matches. Let's say space M. Exit out. Variable. Call this button padding inline. So inline means left and right. Block means top and bottom. Save the database. We close. Come back and say button. That. We go text. Call it. Text. Shop now. So we are supposed to apply this to the CSS class so that we can reuse it, but we currently applied it to an ID instead. So what we'll do is we'll create CSS class, so we'll call it button, and this will be our primary. So we'll do that. I want to do now is to import ID starts for class. I want to apply this class on any button block. It gives us a style. So once that's done, let's create button secondary. So we'll duplicate this and call it button secondary. Button secondary. We're not duplicating, we're just adding a modifier class, then modifying it to match secondary. So this will have structure. But first, let's give to the primary. That's everything there. Let's add a stroke. So whatever is on here, that's the class you're styling. And they'll add a stroke. Border. Let us go here. This is normal. Border is 1. That type is solid. Border color is secondary. And you're good to go. This is because so that border gets border, it's the bordered word or not to still have the same height. Now we move to the secondary. Now here, call modifier class because we are modifying the primary or secondary. On this background, we are going to see transparent. Click on here, scroll down and write transparent. And then we go to the class styles, just change only the color. Text. Now you see what's in that. We'll call this one about us. About us. Then for this button wrapper, do this. Then spacing, like doing this. Width, gap, and space 3xs. So the reason why I like doing this is you have to put column gap and row gap to judge it. But when you say gap, whether it's column or row, it will affect. So gap affects both column and row. And I'm not going to be changing it different on different points. So let's make this 2xs. The S is fine. We are getting there. All this wrapper. So the next thing we are doing is restricting this text. So for the heading, we want the width that it stops here. What you do is you go to layout, inline size, and you say 40 ch. 40 ch is too much here, so 20. Let's do 15. The looks. So let's change the buttons. Copies are secondary. Leave it at 700. Then ease and elegance. We're going to change this to playfair. So how do we do that? We make it span. So like this. Wrap in span. So what I'll do is class equals to edge style. What this means so that we can style this ease and elegance with head style. So we put it in a span, then style it. So we come here now. So we'll do dot head style to target ease and elegance. Then we say color to check that's search. That's to confirm that it's working. Now what you do is select that and say family, and you say primary. So you see that takes this style here. Once you've done that, go back here and you'll use the line height 1.2. Match it here. So you come here to layout, line size. We're gonna do 40 characters. So 40 characters for this one was very long. 40 characters for this was short. This is because it's counting the actual characters. So this is big, so that's why it was that long and put it occupy. But this is small. Hence why 40 characters came like this. You need to stop at you need to 45. So matches. Let's have this 2 in the block. And then let's give the gap. Gap of space get this space for the container. Let's give it a gap of let's try 2xl. 2xl matches. So let's make it 3. It's fine. So we have this. So we want this to cover everywhere. Let's go back to section. Remember the last video we gave it a main block height to set 85. Let's do 19 instead. Or 95, let's do 95. I cover most of the parts and it matches this better. Then you save. So we move to the next part, which is here. We have a section with one container and another container. So let's add a section. Section already has one container in it, so make another one. So add another one. Container 2. For the first container, we have 2 texts inside here. Again, basic text. Second container, we have 2 texts, heading text, subtext, and a card. So this is called the card. And heading, basic text, and a block to hold the card. So there's like a block here holding these 3 cards. So that's this. So let's welcome to Deeblessed. Something like that. Now for the card, let's just add 1 card. Then we'll duplicate later in a coming tutorial. Oh, don't worry, I'll show you how to do it the right way. I'll show you one way, another way for scalability. So let's do this. Another block inside there. So this block is this. We add the category, the heading text, the description or excerpt, and a button. Yeah, and the button. So heading text. And the button. I'll just duplicate this and then bring it down here. We'll add another modifier class to get it like this. So, and also our image. You are wondering, why did we add the image at the last and not the first? We'll find out why very soon. Now, this is because in accessibility, if someone is using a page reader, it's being read from up to down, and you don't want your card to first of all read the image. You want it to first of all read the heading, this heading, category, the heading, and the excerpt for the link, and then the image last. So how you do that is how do you take the image forward? Get how to do that. But first, let's name our card. So we'll call this. What card should we call this? For lack of term, let's just say block card. Let's say this is like blog posts. Call this card. So for the CSS, we're going to call it blog card. I'm going to call this blog card again. block card category, block card excerpt, yes, and then block card image. So just so you remember, the reason why we are adding CSS classes so that if you have multiple classes and we make changes on one, it will water down to the other instead of copying style from here to here. You'll see that in play. It's now once you've added the classes, you can then rename. This is category. This excerpt. Leave the image already has its name. So for the heading, finding for excerpts and version. For this button, we just call it shop. Now let's style our card. So we'll change this block to a grid instead of display text, change it to a grid. So what you do is you do it 3 because you want a column. So say 3, the min max, final bracket, say 0. I'm saying 0 because it wants you to take every available space, like the one F arrow, to close the both brackets. So what that does is take every fraction should be equal, and you create 3 columns. Min max display means 0 means use every available space. So now we have our 3 column grid. So to help us easily reuse this any other time when you have to just Control X, go to Ribbon Manager, the columns 3. We put it here. Want to do for 2, you change this to 2. Like that. So let's do even columns 2. Columns 2. Columns 1. Let's do 1. Then you save. Once saved, you can just come back here, right click and just say columns. If you do 1, nothing happens. But let's say we change this one to 3. Becomes 3, change it to 2. Becomes 3. Let's do 3. Now for the gap, we can add our gap here because this one affects both row and column. So this is that. So this space to this gap is equals to 20 px. Come back, and we are here. So the card background. Let's start designing the card now. Card background is brown. So we go to background color. Summary. All the text disappear because they're also brown. So what we'll do now is come to the text and you say every text inside should use body except change otherwise. So text body reverse. So for the heading, it seems to just do that directly. Python. And for the image to come up, let's first of all save the image. Now the image I downloaded have also be converted to WebP. Let's rename them. Beautiful with audio. And showing there. Beautiful. And now let's go back. And so now we have the image. What we'll do, we'll make the layout. And so that this space is not there. Make width represent. Then we'll go to sim layout, scroll down to order, and make it -1. So this brings it to the top visually. For when any when the page is being read by the computer or your phone, it starts reading from this before it's going to see this last. Now we are done with that. Let's put all of this in a block. Why we are putting in the block is because, see, there's a space here around them. That block. All the block. Log add for the padding, I would say this works. Let's make this heading 5. Then photography. Boundary. Weight. Font size. And fix that. Pick this up. Let's give it a gap. Use the lights. Then for our button, let's give another modifier class. So call this button And for this button link, we're going to remove, click on button link, go to background, background transparent. And we have this. Let's duplicate the card. And then we add an icon. So for the icon, let's go to seed icon. This is the icon we're looking for. Click on it and load SVG. Now we can paste it download it. Can then bring it in. That. Let's make the button. Make sure you're selecting button, main button, and then come here and change the direction to horizontal. Make it center so that it comes down to the gap. That's too much. The two access. The access is too much. 4. That's why it just works. Save. I've gotten that. I have to copy this cards. Then duplicate again. So that we'll have the icons here. And we can start changing for that thing. But now you don't want the buttons to stay up here. So what do you then do? Go to your card, and the CSS. It says last child. In this case, the last child is the button. So you see imagine block end auto. Okay. The button is not the last child. The last child is the image. So let's move this image. Every move it up. Let's copy that CSS. Click on card. Control X. Click on this bar. And let's paste it here. That works. Okay. It's not working because it's counting that as the end. So what we'll do now is select the inner bar. I'll tell it to fill display. So it's stopping here currently. Here. So come here to layout, the height, box size, 100%. Now it fills completely. That's why you're not seeing a green line. Now the green line is stopping. Our last side is not still coming down. Our last side is the button. So what we then do is this. Go to your button, and another class, call it block card button. Call it block card button. And now on that class, we then come here, just say, oh, what I did before was margin end. It's supposed to be margin start. Let's try that again. Good. Last time. Margin block. Auto. That still didn't. It didn't work. So margin block start is the same thing as margin top. But then this is the logical way of doing it. Since that's not working, I just follow with set up the other time. Go back to the button, click on block and button and set it auto. All right. Since the margin auto didn't work on the button, I then doing margin auto for the exact. So everything is down now. So this. Normally, that was supposed to work. So it's supposed to like make space, take all the space that is up here, so that it goes down. But for some reason, it didn't work. Since that didn't work, it said I tried using the exact instead, so that it pushes everything down. So now, whatever is the longest card, your button will always follow the longest card and stay at the bottom as such. Now for this button, it has no border, so let's take off the border. button in, go to border, so border style on. So we applied on one, but it also applied on all. That's the benefit of using CSS classes. And also the button text is light. It's correct loud. Now I said there are two ways of doing this. This is one way. I wouldn't really advise. Because now if you want to change content, you have to come here, duplicate the kind and start writing everything from here. So how I would rather do it, since a blog post, you come here, go to your dashboard and go to post. That's where you have your post. Add post. And then get the title on the post. Get the result. But now, how do you then add the button text? Make a difference. That's where ACF comes in. Click on publish, save this. To ACF. Post types already. What you're trying to create is a field group. The post type, that's the post type already. We just want to add the field group. So yeah. Click on field groups. Add new. And select a field type which is just text. Field label, say button text. That's all you need to do here. Call this post field group. Post type is equal to post. We want something else to change it, but we want it to be equal to post. Click on save changes. Go back to post. Edit. Then look. We have our button text here. I can say shop. But again, category. So category will just say beauty. Click on enter. Make sure on category that is checked up, say beauty. Click on save. But don't forget your image, so you come, you say set featured image. Select your image. Set that as featured image, save. There you go. Do this, like same for the same next post. You just have make all of them have same access. Then more. Category is style. Featured image. Next post. Legacy. Elegant. I think that's a short. Next one. Then you add for the other, we're going to add third image. Publish. back. Edit this one. Perfect. So I can put it there. So now let's delete this 3 post. And that's it. So we come here, save. And what we'll do is we'll convert this into a query loop so that it will then loop this post. And when we make changes to 1, even without CSS or not, changes apply. And if we want to add more cards, we don't have to come here. We'll just come and add more posts and our cards will apply. So let's delete this. Now for the image, for that, let's do this. Select the card, go to content, select query loop. It's already showing 3 because by default, query loop is set to post. So I select just putting it to post. Then once that is done, post per page, I want this to always be 3, even though we only have 3 for now. Once that is done, come here, I'll select this. Now instead of typing it, I'll click on this, I'll look for categories. I'll click. Now you see it has gotten the categories as it is. Then same thing for this. So we'll say post title. For this, we'll say post excerpt. And for the button, we'll say button. Let's see. Okay, I know why that didn't show. They didn't show because it didn't refresh the page. So it can't get that instantly since it's a different, it's like a new one. So once you refresh the page, that will work. Let's refresh. Refresh. Go down. Select. Now, if you go back to ACF, you see now we have it shown there. Now you see you have our button text showing as it should. But then we want this to come first. How you do that? You go to your card, you go to your query group, and you say sending order should be ascended. This will now come first. Now for the image, delete this, say dynamic data, go back to all, and say featured image. So see how more beautiful and professional and easier working with dynamic content is. So we are done with the card. Let's go back to this stuff now. Welcome to Deeblessed. Remember, this is a different container. So what you're going to do is going to add space between different containers. So go to our section, click on gap, CSS, add a gap. So is for example. Now we have our gap. Welcome to Deeblessed. Click on this, go to typography, change to secondary. Then want to reduce the width. So we say 12 ch. even less. We can see it works. For this, see the color here. So let's go to photography. Okay, that's it. Make the container flow horizontal. And for the basic text, also give it the width. Let's try 40 just for the two character does it. Then from here I will say space between. There's a space. We'll also give it a space in case it come close, a gap. If it come close, like when there's no more, your screen is smaller, so it doesn't see touch, or just give it a gap to prevent that in the future. So you have that now. The next part is this. So this container, everything will be centered aligned. For the text, add here, then centered here. Second view. Just to H2. Supposed to be H1 because it's hero text. So HTML tags, hero tag, we have H1 to H6. H1 is usually the hero. H2 is then probably you use H2 to separate sections. H3, H4, H5, H6 comes in different places. So for this, we are making this H2. So we'll leave it as H3. And we'll go to font size. Let's see the size. So that's Excel. And remember, with let's say ch much to less. I'll prefer this way. Yes. Fence like this. But now we have to wrap this because spacing between these two actually see they are wrapped. Right. So wrap this in the block. Give the block width to be auto. Currently, the block is spanning to the ends. It's aligning this to the left. That's like that. I want to make the width auto. Like the block itself, the inline size of the width auto, so that it just carries this. Like this. Like this center, so that this center. And give it a gap. Let's say yeah, that gap is okay. And now the container gap itself. We'll give this itself. We'll have this. We are getting there. We are getting there. In our next video, Continue from here downwards. Also, in our next video, we'll be doing a new post type for customer testimonials or review. So just like you did for the card, you don't have to repeat yourself. So anything you have to repeat yourself, use systems for it. Either in style, if it's in styles, use classes. If it's in content, use custom post types. We have this. That was looking beautiful and findable. We'll continue in the next video.